All right, it's time for the tour check-in. Dan Dowling joins me. I am here. It's July 4th. The tour is officially historic, Dan, as of yesterday. And because we will never stop giving to the people, I am recording this from my parents' house in Texas. I'm here for
Is
the
that
4th
your
of
childhood bedroom?
And I'm in the childhood bedroom. See, I got my tour frame picture on the wall. I got some baby pictures of me up on the wall there. Well, my parents essentially turned my old room into a shrine to me.
Oh my gosh. Are you an
You
only
know,
child?
no, I have
Wow. You just
two other
have
siblings.
very loving parents.
Right.
Yeah.
They're very, there's something wrong with them mentally, Dan. Every
No.
time I show up, the room is like more pictures of me as a child. And I
Every
think
time I
they're
talk
up
to my
to my
parents,
awkward years.
my dad just is now misremembering things, like bad things he's now attributing bad things to me that I didn't even do. He's like, "Oh, pretty surprised you graduated college with with that 1.7 GPA you had." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It makes me
I don't
wonder
know.
because like we all thought we would like mellow out in older age. Not my folks. This is what my dad said today.
No.
Like, we're going to have a 4th of July get together. And he's like, I want to ask everybody who they're voting for. I'm like, that's a horrible idea, Dad. Do not do that.
Jeez.
And he's like, I thought it'd be fun. I'm like, this is not a good idea. This is potential
I'm
for
armed.
this is potential for arguing in the backyard. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah. With fireworks. Well,
Right.
speaking of armaments, though, I noticed you were in Texas where there is an open carry rule because the guns are out today, Patrick. Whoa, hey,
Oh, whoa.
is
Wow.
this Giro After Dark?
This
What's
is why
going
we
on here?
never
I
need
didn't
any
know. I
show
guess
prep, Dan.
thirst trap, thirst trap in the house.
We got what do we got? We got two sprints to talk about. We got a
Mm-hmm.
very important TT tomorrow to talk about.
Yeah.
We had a mountain stage that I think showed us a lot. So where do you want to start today, Dan?
I think we just got to start with the what had everyone in tears yesterday.
Mm,
Sir Mark Cavendish's historic win. I mean,
35 wins.
that 35 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's now that's also the most wins by any one rider, and it's especially poignant here because I believe 35 is the number of children he has now too. So
He has a lot of kids,
uh,
right? Like
a lot of kids.
like four of them were
Like,
on the podium.
I was like, that's impressive.
And I think they said like he has 5 kids. Like
Yeah,
one of them
yeah,
wasn't even there. One kid for
uh,
every tour win. That's what he
right.
should do.
Seriously, very viral. This Mark Cavendish. So good for him. Really showing
And
off. So
I even watched the stage with my mom. Like my mom doesn't really follow cycling, but I had it on, and we watched the stage. And it comes to the podium, and all his kids come on the podium, and my mom goes, "Why doesn't his wife go on the podium?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's a good question." She goes, "That's weird. I don't like this." Like she had like a little hot
yes,
take right in the middle of the stage.
he was. Well, his wife is like a very dashing like model of some kind.
Yeah. So you
Who
think she
still
didn't
look,
want to be in front of the camera? Like
doesn't
she's
look
already
like
been too
she's
much?
mothered. I think she probably steals the spotlight when she's up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. Like she's like, you know what? Let him have his
Or,
moment.
or actually, this just in. What happened is, I actually, my source inside just fed me the news. What happened was she couldn't appear. She was actually giving birth to their newest child.
All right.
She's not available.
Talk about a giveaway. Now we're like, all right, Cavendish, you have to ride next year. You need
Yeah.
another win.
That's
You
why
have
he
another
keeps
kid.
riding. He's like, oh, records, whatever. Like, hey, tuition's very expensive.
Did you think Cav was going to get his historic? So first of all, let's start with this. Did you think he was going to get win number 35 in this tour?
Yeah, I thought it. Well, I don't know. Like we discussed earlier, I thought it was a reasonable likelihood. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I mean, I'm not the one. I can never think in absolutes. Like, yeah, he's definitely going to, because you just, I don't know, I can't think about, like, I didn't think it was unreasonable for Estada to put him there and dedicate resources to him. And
Mm-hmm.
they clearly knew something. So,
Did you think he was going to get it on this stage? Because I was of the belief of like, he's going to have to ride into a bit of form. Like, all the stars are going to have to align. He needs to get a few sprint stages in him, because I was so worried about that very first stage where he was so far back, so dehydrated. I'm like, can they really just come back? And the first sprint stage, he got caught behind the crash. So maybe he would have won that one for all we know. But he was up for the challenge, and it was a great win. What did you think of that sprint that he got number 35 on?
it was nail biting. It was a crazy little sprint, like, and the aerial shots of that were so fun to watch, because at one point he kind of shifts left into a space I wouldn't have seen as a feasible place to continue sprinting in. So it just showed how good he is at getting where he needs to do. I mean, I don't know if he's necessarily like a master of positioning or maneuvering, but like, it's the whole seniority thing. He obviously doesn't lose his cool, and when I think he knows. I think he knows when things are aligned enough for him to win and when to pounce and stuff like that, versus, just thinking about what I actually don't know what happened to the Astana team today. I haven't.
It seemed like they had the day off today, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like they were doing something. They were up front for a while, and then they just kind of faded out. And I wasn't. They were tired legs. Did he give a signal? Maybe, but yeah, no. I thought the sprint was super cool. Wasn't even like necessarily vintage Cavendish too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought maybe that's what we were going to see. Like, wait for the widest, straightest, sprint finish, and they were going to do a classic lead out or something.
Right.
And no, and he was just going to stick there, and no one was going to come around.
Yeah.
But
no, this
it was
pure,
a scrappy little sprint.
Pure scrappy, surf the wheels, Cav. And like, what's so great about this tour? Like, we had climbing days that were fascinating. We have these sprint stages, which have been fascinating. And the overhead shot, I love sprint overhead shots, because every time they show it on the replay, your eyes follow a different rider, and you get to see their path to first, their path to second, right, what messed up the one guy who had the momentum. And that overhead shot.
Yeah, or how they went from first to 17th, like, right, in the last 500 meters. Like, that happens,
The overhead shot of that Cav sprint, he's on Philipsen's wheel, which I would think is the goal, get on Philipsen's wheel. And then at one point, he bails on Philipsen's wheel, and it was the right call. He went far left, and he won it cleanly. And Philipsen had a really good jump to get on Cav's wheel, but he never even attempted to come around Cav. So he had it perfectly, and we even had some great Cav bumping shoulders into the sprint too. It was so great. I'm really glad he got the 35th win like that too. It was clean, not too much relegation talk, although I heard Horner bring it up a little bit, but I thought it was a clean sprint.
No, I didn't see. I mean, yeah, when that crash happened so quickly, I'm like, oh, did he chop somebody's wheel? But
yeah, Pedersen went down.
But Cav wasn't really.
No, I don't believe so. I haven't seen that one. Also, like, we had a Cofidis guy jump over Pedersen.
Yeah, I did go back and see that.
That was like
amazing.
On like the 5th rewatch, you're like, whoa, look at that. Like, we don't have an overhead shot of that. That would have been cool to see. But that might have been the save of the tour, because remember, Tade had that great save where he almost crashed into a pole in the center of the road. Like, this stage was super exciting, and it was just a sprint stage, no breakaway at all. And all these cool things happened. So, I mean, this tour, A+ on the beginning of this tour as far as excitement goes. Oh, Dan, you're back. You froze for a second.
Patrick, I got you back in real time. Yeah.
Okay, you're back now.
Same thing happened on my end, evidently. All right. So, yep, and that is my explanation of the mathematics behind the sprint.
Oh, yeah. People will never know. Dan went deep into analytics and numbers, power files.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a quick synopsis of the climbing stage. And we all know Pogačar put time on mainly Jonas, but his other rivals. But you know who I am secretly having an eye on now is Remco. He was the only one that tried and went with the Pogačar Jonas acceleration. Somehow he's up ahead on the downhill, gets caught, gets dropped by that group, comes back, and then sprints for second. I'm a little bit of Team Remco now. Tomorrow's the time trial, which is going to suit him.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you need to talk me down?
Question for you. No, I think Remco could take the yellow jersey tomorrow and potentially get, I don't think an insurmountable lead, but I think he could definitely get some seconds on Pogačar. I mean, if he's feeling pretty good. I don't know. Tade's such a good time trialist too, but Remco is the freaking world champion, right? And
right, world champion TT. We all know how good this is. A flat TT. It's not inconceivable that he would win this time trial, whether he takes enough back to get the yellow. I don't think you could talk me into that, but you definitely could talk me into him winning the TT. And he's great at these first week Grand Tours. So I think it's hot boy Remco summer right now.
It is hot. It's hot Remco right now. No, I think that's right. I think he's the one to keep an eye on. He seems like he might be the one who's going to ride into special form in the second or third week. That would be my prediction. But I mean, I wonder what's going to happen with Johan, if he's going to get better as time goes on. But it almost seems like he's taking advantage of being so well rested or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's go through the big four right now, and let's give ourselves an honest assessment. Let's start with Pogačar. Where do you think he's strong? Do you think he's weak at all right now?
No, he hasn't shown anything. I mean, nothing that, I haven't done a deep jump into like the dynamics of his team and all that.
That's the other thing. Team is incredibly strong. UAE.
But yeah, no, it doesn't. He seems to still be the Tade that doesn't even necessarily need the superstar team, because he can stick with everyone. When there's a gnarly finish, he can jump away and get 2 minutes on you.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see.
He looks the odds-on favorite. That climbing day, I mean, the only issue he had all day was Almeida yelling at Ayuso, or the other way around, to come to the front. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the only issue that they've had. He's like, hey, get up, get your ass up here. And then he came up there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of airing of the draw. Yeah, that seemed a little, I don't know.
And on that stage, Pogačar gaps Jonas, like by 7 seconds at the top. But if that climb was longer, Jonas was done. Like, he was getting dropped. So I think there's a question mark for mountains to come. So Pogačar A+, no weaknesses, all strength. What about Jonas now? What are you thinking for him?
It's so hard to say. I mean, he definitely looked better than I think I expected him to be the first week. I think tomorrow will be really telling.
Tomorrow's going to be big.
Because, that will be, is he hitting his max power and able to hold that consistently over, what is it, about 15 miles tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we're at 23 kilometers. So it's not super long, but it's enough that we are going to see time gaps. And remember last year, I don't think it was a 30K time trial, and Jonas beat Pogačar by 1:26. Unbelievable. So this is going to be a great test tomorrow. And Jonas is playing it off like, oh, we expected to lose more time by now. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm glad I got through that first day. I expected to lose time. So I don't know if he's playing it cool, or we're going to see an awesome third week Jonas. I'm a little inclined to think that he is not going to be 100%. I don't see him. I think he's out of my top 3 now, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Like I said, we're going to have a dark horse on the podium, I think.
You may be right. And the Visma team is nowhere near last year.
No. no, no, no. I mean, it's no, they're missing their spiritual leader.
Sep,
Definitely.
what do you think? How do you think Sep is watching this tour? Is he just in the couch being like,
Actually,
"You wish you had me, motherfuckers"?
he put something on Instagram like congratulations to somebody, but then he said something about having complications from COVID, and I'm like, oh man, I hope he's not like super sick.
Oh,
Because
really? Huh?
I'm like joking about him just taking the week off to have edibles, but yeah. So, but I think he's probably okay.
Okay. Okay.
But
So Jonas, do you think Jonas has got a third week run in him?
I would be highly surprised if he had that.
Yeah.
If anything, I suspect he's going to fatigue
Yeah. Okay. So we're
over
both
a
down on
week three.
Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
for
Primos.
me, the one,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
that's been the question mark for me is Primos.
How so? What's your concerns?
He hasn't looked that good the first week, but hasn't looked disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He hasn't crashed.
so right, and he's played that pretty well.
That's
I
what
mean, which for
he
him,
should
that's a
do every
great
day
deal,
when he
right?
gets out of the bus. When they're like, "Primos, how you feeling?" Didn't crash. Bye.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know. I'm curious to see how he develops over the I think he's going to go. I think he has the most potential to really come into his own maybe on the late into the second week, third week.
Okay. So you think he's got
I don't know
that third
why.
week
I guess
run?
that's just the feeling because I
Mm-hmm.
feel we. I mean, because pretty good, and we've seen some flashes of that a little bit this year at the was it the Dauphiné he won?
Mm-hmm. He won the
Am I thinking of something
Dauphiné.
else? What was the
He,
1 week race he won?
yeah, he won the Dauphine. He had the
So
bad last day, but he won.
it's in there somewhere, and I think it'll come out at some point.
Okay.
I mean, and
Remco.
he even like he was Remco. Yeah, Remco. I think Remco is going to have a very strong. I think I initially thought Primoz was going to be on the podium, and then a third somebody. Now I'm not sure. Now I'm 50-50 between Remco and Primoz as to which one of them makes the podium. I don't think they both will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say though, um, do you know how much if there's more decisive descents on any of the mountain stages?
Oh
Because
yeah.
the mountain stage, it was Tade and Johan, and we're both pretty darn good descenders.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely putting some time or keeping, Roglic and Evenepoel away. So if there's more of those, I mean, that could be a place where Tade and Johan too, if he sticks around, could differentiate themselves from the other two a little bit. If there's
Yeah.
like some crazy descent,
Tade
and
and
Tade does the thing
Jonas,
where
you
he
mean?
tacks near the top, gets a gap, and then can get it. If Jonas can stick with if there's another like scenario that happened the other day where Tade jumps, Jonas is able to kind of stick with them, and then there's a descent,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's already been a gap before they've crested the climb, Primoz and Evenepoel are a little bit behind. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to make up that gap, I think, on a descent. And quite the opposite. I think that's a scenario again where an advantage can grow over those two guys
Yeah.
because
Tade
they
is
don't
shown
quite have the bike handling and descending.
Tade has shown clearly that he is game for racing downhill too. Like he'll take pulls, he'll take risks on the downhill. He's not one to regroup on the descent itself. And like going into this tour, I'm always a little bit down and bullish on stages that have a descent finish where you have the uphill, then they descend into flat. But that descent the other day was great excitement. So this tour just continues to surprise me of how fun it is. A fun descent can actually be good for the finish. So the tour is just hitting
Yeah.
all the marks for me.
Yeah. No,
there.
Yeah. When you see the tour, like it always feels like when you're watching the tour, you're like, oh, this is the big time. Like this is so they're always on a different level.
It's on
Race
such
design,
another
everything.
level, like so much to the point where I go on to cyclingnews.com and it's got the tour headline, and then you see headlines on the side and it says Ghana wins Tour of Slovenia. I'm like, why do you even have races during the tour? What's the point? You guys just train and watch the tour. Like, we don't care if you win anything.
Yeah.
Let's go race.
Right.
All right, so let's get a 1 week prediction, Dan.
The one?
Who is your podium right now?
1 week. What's going to be? Right now?
No. 1 week in, who do you think is our podium?
In 1 week's time.
Yeah. Who do you have as
1
your
week
top
from today?
three?
Or do you just want me to tell you who the GC is today? Because I can look that up. I am happy to do that.
In 2 weeks, the finish of the Tour de France, who is standing on the podium?
2 weeks from now, Tadej Pogacar. I am going to say Remco is still my podium. Is actually my new podium pick as of today. And third is going to be, who is it going to be? Man, who else?
Gosh, this is the conflict right here.
For a minute, I was going to say Carapaz was going to do something, but I don't know. Yeah,
we didn't talk about Carapaz. God
yeah.
damn, did he take a gut punch?
Yeah. So let me looking at the top 10 right now.
Yeah. Are there any dark horses that are sticking out to you? We haven't talked about Ineos yet. It doesn't seem like they figured out.
That's what I was going to say. I think Carlos Rodriguez maybe is going to be like under the radar, stick with everybody.
That long mountain climb that ends on a summit. I mean, that could be his day.
Yeah. Is he much of a time trialer though? That's the only thing.
I think he was like not in the top 5 last year on that Jonas beatdown TT. So big question mark to see how he does tomorrow. Like I like watching the time trials and waking up early and watching all the riders. So I'm going to have a lot of interest to see tomorrow's stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow's going to, it's again, like so well organized that we have a time trial tomorrow. Cause you're like, just when you think things are going one way, like such a big dispositive event happens. It's almost felt like that. Like I've welcomed these sprint stages, whereas a lot of times they're kind of like, I'm kind of like, oh man, let's just wait till the GC stages again. But it's like, no, this is kind of nice. It's a little bit of a reset and to take stock of what's going on. Yeah,
good point. We needed a little breather between stages this tour. It started off so hot and it was like, give us a couple sprint stages, let us catch our breath. And it seemed the peloton was that way too, because I don't think I've ever seen 2 stages where they weren't chasing a break for 3/4 of the race.
Yeah.
It was just a ride. It was just a ride down the road and then they went fast at the end.
I will say too, what's kind of made it fun is I do feel like we have 2. Okay, not to throw too much shade on the majority of sprinters, but sometimes like the sprinters are just like these big kind of jocks, and you're just like not the most personality, and they're just like blonde, muscular guys, and you're like, you would have beat me up in high school, like. But like this year, we've had Gourmet won. And then everyone loves Cavendish. Like everyone loves old Cavendish, especially.
Yeah.
And so like you're like, oh, you have people to cheer for in the sprint versus like, oh, is it going to be Fabio or Jasper? Like the same. I'm like, those are kind of all interchangeable to me. They win. They're angry when they don't win. Like I sprint good. Like they're just like big piles of blonde muscle. So it's nice to like. And then you put like the Gourmet thing was so cool. And then he did pretty well again today. Like maybe he'll take another one. Maybe he can fight for the green jersey. Cavendish going to extend his lead on Merckx? So those have made the sprint stages a little bit more fun versus like, your typical, I don't know.
We have,
that's very true. Good, but like, he's just I couldn't tell you the first thing about him, you know?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, we have multiple sprinters to root for this year. Gourmet, Cavendish. Philipsen hasn't done anything yet. He got relegated today as well. So I think we've got a good angry Philipsen coming into the next few days, which is my favorite Philipsen. Even Kristoff is featuring in these sprints. I'm like, Kristoff still rides? Getting third? Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, and in Groenewegen today, like we forget Groenewegen was shunned from cycling 3 years ago for that horrific crash, which is like a great argumented point whether he should have been punished the way he was or not. And he won today, and that's a great story. Like, I'm pro Groenewegen now. I want him to have a good comeback. Like, this is fun. There's 6 sprinters
dude,
that I love now.
I still have hard. I don't want to hold it against him, but it's like I wish he would. He needs to do something to distinguish himself off the bike, because right now his only off the bike data point is I almost killed a guy.
Hey, I'm Groenewegen. I almost killed a guy. Maybe that's why he wears those
like,
witness protection sunglasses.
Yeah, seriously. Like,
he's got to sprint like this.
Like, open up a coming out of the bushes with he needs to open up like a sanctuary for cute cats or something like that.
Oh, I like it. Well, the tour's not over.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, the tour is really, really ramping up. I'm watching more of it.
Wait,
all the time.
Hold on a second, Patrick. What is your pick for? We're 1 week in. Mm-hmm. So now with that information, who's your podium in the last day of the tour?
Okay, I'm sticking with Pogačar first. I think he's on fire. I think we've got him in the Merckx conversation. Boonen, Lance, Cancellara. I think we're talking about him as one of the greats after this tour. Second, though, I think if all things align, I think Remco could get second at this tour. I'm a little concerned about third week Remco. I'm a little concerned about long climb Remco. But it was reported he lost 2.5 kilograms between the Dauphine and the Tour. And that guy is like 5'7". He might be weighing in like at 129 pounds. So if he is on fire like that, third week Remco may be all right. And the last...
I did wanted to say if you're not familiar with the metrics, 2.5 kilograms, that is 130 pounds. So he did a very good job. He was a little portly before. He's done good.
He might be negative weight right now.
Yeah, it's weird that he's in that really baggy spandex. You would have thought they would have gotten him better.
Did you see the close-up on his shoes today? He was wearing some sort of new specialized unmarked moccasin. It was unbelievable, the shoe he had on today. I can't wait to see some more spy pictures of the shoe.
Wait, this is an off-the-bike moccasin or like a moccasin?
No, it was a cycling shoe. He was wearing this like 2 big straps white shoe. I'm like, I can't wait to see this. And we got... wait, hold on. Podium first. Pogačar, Remco. And I'm going to go for the third place. It's going to be a little crazy. I'm going to say it gets weird, and one of the UAE guys is going to get third. Whether it's Ayuso. Yeah, probably Ayuso. He's looking the best. And I see Primoz having the bad day again. I see Jonas having multiple bad days. So I don't have Jonas in my top 5 now. So I'm going with that. That is going to be my pick. So coming out of that, I have a question for you, Dan. Mm-hmm. Give me your favorite time trial controversy that we're going to have tomorrow. Is it going to be equipment? Is it going to be timing? Is it going to be wind? Let's go out on TT controversies.
I think what we're going to see, because we've seen it a few times already, the one front organizers have not taken the lead on is these dumbass spectators with their smartphones trying to take photos, getting in the road. I think we're going to see spectator or loose pet situation. Hopefully no one crashes, but it's gonna affect somebody.
Wow, I like how you leaned into the camera to say this too.
Yeah, I'm sure all you people out there. We have a lot of. I know that we're very popular with the French baby boomers, so I'm just telling you right now, guys. Let the pros take the pictures. Don't stand in the road.
I think you needed to.
You're not even holding the camera.
You need to do the next show in a white turtleneck, Dan. I think that would bring your point across.
Come on, right?
Did you see that one where the lady had her arm out taking a picture, and they hit her arm, and the camera calls, and she starts to follow the camera into the actual group of riders?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, who let these people, like, come on, they don't have a grandson? Like, so what's going
I mean, that's
on here. Who lets these people do this?
We just have so much to talk about after every single day.
We've been out to, like, the Tour of California. I don't know if you've been to the European races or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but guess what? Those pictures never look good. They're not good photos. They're like, here's a blurry, like random guy, like face. Like that's not a good photo. Like,
yeah, why are they risking this? This is insane, French people.
yeah. And they're like, yeah. Oh, and they're like, it's like, oh, are you a sports photographer? No, I've never, like, all of a sudden I'm going to figure out how to take a good eye level photo of a Peloton going, 50 kilometers an hour. And you want to wait for them to be as close as possible. Like there's nothing like against all rules of photography, if nothing else, right?
They always make the joke too, like, why do you wait on the side of the road for hours and then the Peloton comes and you look at the camera bike that goes by you and not the Peloton?
Right.
We'll never get answers to these questions. You know what my controversy is going to be for tomorrow, Dan? Socks. We are going to have some time trial socks that are going to be our controversy tomorrow is my pick. So get ready.
I am just waiting. Yeah, I hope someone comes out and like we get like I hope that someone's convinced somebody that like a little knee-high schoolgirl sock is the most era thing, and we're gonna see a couple people just looking like Catholic schoolgirls.
Oh.
Like, no, yeah, that's good.
Right. It's all happening tomorrow. Do not sleep tomorrow because it is going to happen. Socks, shoe covers, helmets. I'm already of the understanding we're going to see crazy helmets. That is a given. So, like, I can't wait to see socks tomorrow. Well,
right.
That was our tour catch up. That was Dan Dowling, the man. He might wear a turtleneck next time. So much excitement. Remco bandwagon? Maybe? We'll find out tomorrow. Dan, enjoy the tour.